When you think of characters from Adventure Time, is there anyone more iconic than Marceline, the Vampire Queen? Let me ask you the real question. How well do you know her? How did she go from the cute little daughter of a demon lord to a blood-sucking fiend who strikes fear into everyone's heart? You don't know? Well, it's a good job I'm here then, isn't it? Because today we'll be taking a trip down Marceline memory lane to cover her entire story from start to finish. So grab your favorite red-colored snack because it's time to dive on in. So I guess we should go where all good stories begin, the start. Marceline was born a real long time ago to a human woman called Elise and her father, one second, let me check my notes, the demon lord of the Nightosphere? Yep, she's Hunson Abadir's girl, all right. And as you'd expect for someone whose dad is basically the devil, she didn't have a great growing up. Her early years were marked by the aftermath of the catastrophic Mushroom War, which if you didn't know is basically because us humans nuked ourselves into oblivion. And with the way things are going, maybe that's closer than we think. We get a look at the nuclear fallout in the episode Everything Stays, and we even get to catch a glimpse of a young Marceline's life with her mother Elise. They live together in a trailer amidst the post-apocalyptic ruins where Elise, despite battling a terminal illness, dedicated herself to nurturing and protecting her daughter. As her health declined, Elise guided young Marceline to a hidden bunker, sacrificing herself to the apocalyptic wilderness in the hope her daughter gets to live a fuller life. Man, we've only just started and I can feel the tears starting. Left to fend for herself in a shattered world, Marceline's path crossed with a certain Simon Petrikov, a man slowly succumbing to the maddening effects of the Ice Crown. In the episode Memory of a Memory, we see how Simon stepped up to the plate in the absence of Elise and Hunson. I know Hunson is still evil on that, but he can't be in the moral realm for long either, and he's also evil like I said, so not sure she really want him around anyway. But Simon, he's the man, and despite what's going on with his head, he knows how to protect Marceline. He even gives her a gift, a small stuffed toy called Hambo. Look how cute he is. The cuteness soon ends though, because just like Marcy's mom, Simon knows that he has to leave to keep her safe. The crown is starting to corrupt him, and he can't afford to put her in danger. So he says his goodbyes and wanders alone once more. Now, all by herself again, Marceline does some wandering of her own, honing her survival skills and developing an independence that might save her now, but will curse her for years to come. During this time, she stumbles across a young wizard called Ash. He steals her heart in no time and the two soon start hitting off. But their relationship wasn't meant to be, as Ash wasn't the charismatic caring guy Marcy thought he was. I mean, he literally steals Hambo off her and sells it to Maja the Sky Witch for some stupid magical thingamajig. That's worse than cheating in my eyes. Safe to say Marceline thinks so too and immediately dumps him after finding out about what happened to Hambo. So, yeah, she's alone again. You gotta admit, she's like the unluckiest, loneliest girl of all time. 3 people come into her life and give her hope, and then they all leave. So to battle against the need for other people, Marcy's mean streak takes over, and she takes up the mantle of being a vampire hunter to protect the remaining humans. I know what you're thinking. What? Isn't she the vampire queen? Well, hold your horses. I'm getting to that. Basically, with each vampire she defeated, she absorbed their abilities, gaining powers like, flight, invisibility, hatred of garlic, that sort of thing. But taking out the vampires meant one thing: dealing with the vampire king. Think of him like your average everyday vampire, but like on performance enhancers. This guy was tough to take down, but that didn't stop her. They eventually faced off after Marcy took down his entire kingdom, and although she managed to shake him off in the chaos of the battle, she was bitten by him, which is bad news if you're not already a vampire. The bite turned her into the very thing she'd sworn to destroy, and with no vampires left and the king dethroned, she became the last vampire, or as you know her, Marceline the Vampire Queen. Marcy's new vampiric life takes us to the events of Stakes miniseries, where we see her getting to grips with her newfound powers. I guess the coolest thing about being a vampire is that you're essentially immortal, unless killed with a stake or that type of thing. You get what I'm saying. So because of this, Marcy is trapped as being a teenager for the rest of time. So with her forever to spend, she roamed the land of Oo pretty aimlessly, but one thing remained: her need to protect others. So, instead of giving into her vampiric instincts of feeding on blood, she instead decides to feed on the color red. Hey, don't ask me how it works, she just does okay, alright? We also see her start to pick up her passion for music. Hey, if I had to live forever, I'd 100% learn how to play the bass guitar too. Along these travels, she even runs into a familiar face for the very first time: Princess Bubblegum, or PB to you and me. As PB was the protector of the Candy Kingdom, Marceline soon warmed up to her, and their friendship started to blossom. However, just like anything good in Marcy's life, it doesn't last long, and the two mysteriously go back to being strangers. But keep this in mind because we'll revisit what happened between Marcy and PB a little later. The first time we meet Marceline in terms of the show's airing schedule is in the season 1 episode, Evicted. Remember that jerk of a boyfriend she had, Ash? Well, Ash and Marcy used to live in a treehouse together, and after a while away, she wants to live there again. Problem is, there's new people living there now, and you all know who they are. When first introduced, we actually think Marcy is a villain. You know, with the way she acts with the boys. But turns out she was just testing them to see if they are worthy enough to be heroes who can help protect Ooh. Eventually, everyone comes to an agreement and Marcy lets Finn and Jake have their treehouse. Although it's not like she needed a home anyway, she's got her big house out in the deep dark cave. Her house, though, we don't actually see until the episode. It came from the Nightosphere, and boy is it a doozy. Basically, Finn accidentally released her dad from the Nightosphere, and he kinda wants to go on a soul-sucking rampage. Give the guy a break, he hasn't been in the mortal realm for hundreds of years. Luckily though, Finn overhears Marcy singing her Fries song, which kinda talks about one of the only good times she shared with her dad. So, with the hope of stopping Hunson, Finn tells him about the song. Upon hearing the love his daughter still has for him, or I guess that she at least still thinks of him, Beeble stops what he's doing and hugs his daughter, giving Finn enough time to stab his soul sacs, which isn't as weird as it sounds. It releases all of the trapped souls and banishes Hunson once again to the Nightosphere. So, yet again, as soon as she gets her dad back, he vanishes. Did Pendleton Ward hate Marceline or something? Remember when I told you guys to remember that Marcy and PB's relationship suddenly went kind of frosty out of nowhere? Well, in the episode What Was Missing, we get to see them team up as they, along with Finn and Jake, form a band to retrieve their stolen belongings from a door lord. And Marceline performs the song, I'm Just Your Problem. And yeah, if you haven't, I'd suggest you go up and look up those lyrics. It wasn't always doom and gloom for them though. I mean, look at the Sky Witch episode. That entire episode is dedicated to PB trying to track down Hambo to give him back to her as a surprise. So, the pair do still care about each other. And we've already mentioned the whole Stakes miniseries, but it left out a bit, on purpose, where she asks Princess Bubblegum to basically take her vampire abilities away. She's tired of living the same endless cycle, feeling cut off from the world around her. So, she turns to Princess Bubblegum for help, with a mix of science and a little bit of magic, of course. At first, it works. Marceline starts to feel human again. She can step into the sun, feel her heartbeat, and imagine a future where she might actually be able to grow old. But taking away her vampirism doesn't just change her body, it sets something darker in motion. It brings back the souls of 5 ancient vampires she once defeated: the Fool, the Empress, the Moon, the Hierophant, and the pesky Vampire King. Each one returns to Ooh in their own form, and Marceline has to face not just her old enemies, but the parts of herself she was trying to bury. One of the most powerful moments comes when she confronts the Empress, the vampire who once hypnotized Simon back when he was barely holding on to his sanity. Marcy remembers the pain of watching someone she cared about suffer, and boy, does she take it out on her. In fact, she takes it out on everyone. Slaying each vampire, one by one, Marceline starts to question everything. Is giving up her powers really what she wants? Is shedding her identity the same as healing? She's forced to find an answer though when the Vampire King transforms into a massive dark cloud and threatens all of Ooh. So Marcy has no other choice than to open herself up and consume the darkness. But it means that just after giving it up, she becomes a vampire again. At least this time, it's by choice. This changes her. For the better, everything starts looking up, and her relationship with Princess Bubblegum begins to shift too. They start spending more time together, the tension fades, the walls drop, and what once felt like a broken friendship quietly starts to become something more. Their growing closeness is especially clear in Varmints, when the two sneak away from the Candy Kingdom to chase down some unruly creatures and wind up talking through their falling out. It's awkward and honest and sweet, and by the end of the episode, they're laughing together like old times. But it's in the episode I Remembered You that delivers one of the most emotional moments in Marceline's present-day story. In this episode, the Ice King, still lost in his magical madness, visits Marceline, asking for help writing a song. Marceline agrees, reluctantly, and as they piece together lyrics, she begins to realize that the lines he's scribbling are actually bits of a letter Simon Petrikov wrote her long ago, back when he was still himself. The realization shatters her, but Simon doesn't realize who he was or who she is, but Marceline does. He's the man who raised her, protected her, and loved her before the crown took him away. It's such a brutal episode, man. Honestly, go and watch it right now. Well, after you finish this video and subscribe to the channel, of course. And it's time we got to the episode Come Along With Me, where Marceline fights alongside Princess Bubblegum during the Great Gum War. When she thinks Bubblegum has been killed, she unleashes her full fury in a wild, emotional burst of power. But when she finds out PB is still alive, she rushes to her without hesitation. They embrace, and then, after all this time, it finally happens. Also, just gotta say that Come Along With Me is one of the greatest endings to any show ever. But it's not quite the end for Marcy and PB, though. Sometime after the events of the main series, we find Marcy and PB living together in peace, sharing a home, a quiet life, the kind of calm they never had time for before. This part of their story unfolds in Adventure Time Distant Lands Obsidian, where we see them settled, comfortable, and closer than ever. But peace doesn't last forever. When a massive lava dragon named Larvo reawakens in the Glass Kingdom, they're called back into action. The mission stirs up old memories. Their last visit ended in a fight that nearly broke them up. Marceline remembers feeling pushed aside like she didn't matter. Bubblegum remembers feeling overwhelmed and not knowing how to show she cared. As they face the danger ahead, they're also confronting the hurt they never really dealt with in the past. For Marceline, the journey brings her back to a place she hasn't seen since she was a kid, the bunker her mother once led her to. Inside, she finds something she never expected, a message from her mom. In the recording, her mom explains everything. Hearing her mother's voice say she was never abandoned lifts something heavy off of her shoulders. Instead of reacting with anger, Marcy does what she does best. She picks up her guitar and writes a new song. Not one about pain, but about love, about choosing to stay, choosing to grow old with someone if you're lucky enough to get the chance. The song is called Eternity With You, and whilst it was written about PB, the power that song has helps quiet Larvo, saving the Glass Kingdom and cementing to Princess Bubblegum that Marceline is the person for her, no matter what happens. Wow. Well, don't we all just love a happy ending? I mean, if anyone deserved it, it's Marceline. I know Adventure Time had like a gazillion episodes, and there's still some more stuff on top, but I'm kinda sad that we'll never get to see more of Marceline and PB. But you know what they say, don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. I hope you all enjoyed looking back at some Marcy's most memorable moments. I know I did. Let me know down below what your favorite episode of Adventure Time is, and also, who do you want me to see cover next? But for now, I'll see you all next time.